My grandfather used to be part of an opera troupe. One year, after performing in a place, the whole troupe stayed in an old, dilapidated temple. This story was told to him by his colleague Old Zhao, who experienced it firsthand. Old Zhao had a secret habit. Every night, deep in the quiet hours, he'd sneak off to some secluded spot to smoke opium. After liberation, this was a serious crime, so he had to do it in secret. One night, he was puffing away in the woods behind the temple when a tall, lanky figure came swaying towards him. The man spoke up, "Hey there, friend. Enjoy this too, eh? Mind if I have a couple of puffs?" Old Zhao was a generous sort. Thinking they shared the same vice, he said, "Sure, if you like it, go ahead." Back and forth they went, and soon they were friendly. After that, this tall, thin man came every night to borrow a smoke from Old Zhao. This went on for over a month. Then one night, the man said, "Old Zhao, I've got something to tell you. Don't be scared. But I am actually dead." He paused, seeing Old Zhao didn't flinch, and continued, "You're a good man, letting me smoke for free all this time. I have to go now." Came to say goodbye. Old Zhao was older, well-traveled, and had nerves of steel. Calmly, he replied, "I'm not scared. I kind of figured you were a spirit, a ghost. We get along so well. Why you leaving? Where you headed?" The spirit explained, "Well, tomorrow I've got a rare chance to be reborn." Old Zhao's curiosity sparked. "Oh? That's new. How does that work for the dead? Tell me, spirits like me." "We need to find a substitute," the man whispered, lowering his voice. 5 miles east of here, there's Chengja village, the first house in the first row on the south end. A young wife there plans to take her own life tomorrow. When the clock strikes a certain hour, he named the exact time, I can take her place and move on. This has to happen. Miss the hour and the chance is gone. Old Zhao secretly memorized the address. He decided he had to see this tomorrow. The next day, Old Zhao found the house in Chengjia village. As he entered the yard, he heard a woman sobbing inside. The house seemed empty, probably everyone was out working the fields. Peering through the window, he saw her, a pretty young woman, crying and muttering to herself, likely after a fight with her mother-in-law. Listening closely, he heard a man's voice beside her, coaxing, "Go on, do it. It's better this way. Go and be free of your troubles." But the voice was faint, disembodied. Hearing this, the young wife wept harder. She dragged a stool over, grabbed a rope, and tried to hang herself. But the stool was too short. She couldn't quite reach the beam to loop the rope over it. Just an inch too low. Suddenly, Old Zhao watched in horror as the stool began to float, rising all by itself. The young woman easily threw the rope over the beam, tied a noose, and started to slip it around her neck. Now, Old Zhao smoked opium, but he had a soft heart. He couldn't just stand by and watch a young woman die. He bellowed, "Stop! Don't do it!" His shout jolted her awake. The hovering stool crashed to the floor. Old Zhao ran into the street, calling for help. Pretending to be a passerby asking for water, he told the neighbors he'd stumbled upon the woman trying to kill herself and urged them to fetch her family. The woman was saved. That night, back in the woods, the tall, swaying figure appeared again. "Brother Zhao," the spirit said, voice thick with reproach. "That wasn't very friendly. You ruined my chance." Old Zhao hurriedly apologized. "Ah, little brother. Look, first, I didn't want you to go. We'd just become friends. Good company for a smoke and a chat. Second, that girl was too young. Such a waste to go so soon. Next time, find someone older." The spirit sighed. It's not that easy. But he didn't press the matter further. Maybe he was reluctant to part with his smoking buddy too. They continued their nightly meetings for another month. A month later, the spirit said, "Old Zhao, I really have to go now." Old Zhao nodded. "All right, brother, you've kept this old man company another month. I won't stop you this time. Go if you can. It's not another young wife, is it?" "No," the spirit replied. "It's a traveling peddler. Tomorrow noon, crossing the bridge west of here. Something will happen." The next noon, old Zhao wasn't planning to go, but he had nothing else to do. Might as well see the show, he thought. As he reached the bridgehead, he saw a young peddler balancing 2 baskets full of fruit on a shoulder pole, stepping onto the simple wooden plank bridge. Suddenly, splash! The scale beam and counterweight from his baskets tumbled into the river. These were his livelihood. Frantic, the peddler set down his pole and leaned over the railing, peering into the water. Strangely, the scale beam and counterweight were just floating there, not drifting away. A hazy, dreamlike voice whispered in his ear, "Quick, jump in and grab them before they wash away. Jump!" JUMPNOWN. Just as the peddler braced himself to jump, old Zhao's kindness surged again. He dashed forward and yanked the young man back. "Don't jump! The water's deep here. Look how strange that is that counterweight isn't even sinking." No sooner had the words left his mouth than the counterweight sank with a loud glug. The young man snapped out of his daze, wide-eyed and shaking. That night, the spirit appeared once more. He looked at old Zhao and shook his head, resigned. Your heart is too soft. I can't tell you anything ever again." Old Zhao, knowing he was in the wrong, stayed silent. They kept up their strange companionship for another half a year. Then, one day, the spirit said, "Old Zhao, I'm leaving. Going to be reborn." Old Zhao opened his mouth to ask, but closed it. He knew asking was pointless. From that night on, the tall, swaying figure never returned. And every time old Zhao recounted this story to my grandfather, he'd always end with the same troubled question, "Old friend, tell me, was I right to save those 2 souls?"